Welcome and thank you for being an adult volunteer or coach for the Triangle Debate League. This video will provide you important policies and procedures to help you work with high school students. This presentation will cover important TDL policies and procedures and set expectations for working with students. At the end of the video, there will be an opportunity for you to go take a quiz and read the Code of Conduct for volunteering. The first thing we'll cover is sexual harassment. And it's important to know that there are basically three kinds of sexual harassment you can see in a school system. One is adult to youth, second is youth to youth, and third, adult to adult. For purposes of this video, we will spend the majority of our time reviewing adult to youth sexual harassment. To start, it's important to understand some statistics. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 7 boys will actually face some form of sexual abuse, either sexual abuse or sexual harassment. 50% of the abuse will be by another juvenile, and 80% of all sexual harassment and abuse won't be reported. Because 60% of abuse is outside of the family unit and by someone the child knows, it's very important for us to understand the boundaries that we must establish with children, as well as recognize if we see abuse in others. Adult offenders actually fall in 3 categories. One is a preferential abuser, usually picking favorites. 2 is a situational abuser that takes advantage of circumstances or relationships to build a relationship that allows them to abuse a student. An indiscriminate abuser. In the school system, typically the most common that you will see is preferential and situational abuse. It's important to understand red flag behaviors, both recognize when we've crossed a boundary and to recognize it in others' behavior. Some examples include preferring kids as friends, having too much physical contact, ignoring established policies and procedures, telling inappropriate jokes or using inappropriate language, social networking with students, gift giving, bending rules, having favorites, behaving like a teenager, or creating or finding ways to spend time alone with students. We've established some clear do's and don'ts for creating these boundaries. So, the don'ts: don't start texting one-on-one with any student, participating in any kind of social media relationship, offering a car ride home, sharing phone numbers or addresses with any student, or providing babysitting services, running errands, anything that establishes a relationship outside of the coaching, mentoring, or volunteering. Things you can do: you can email CCing the coach partner, the TDL coach, the college coach, so that you have another adult established on the email. Always having a Durham Public School or a Wake County Public School teacher in the room, or a CA or other adult volunteer coach in the room. Doors are always open. You keep a clear professional relationship with students and maintain a zero tolerance on any boundary violations. Because we all have different comfort levels with physical contact, we've established some rules that we feel will make everybody comfortable. Those include avoiding hugs. It's best to do fist bumps or high fives, or just remain with no physical contact if someone is interested in, saying a big hello. Avoid touching, rubbing shoulders, holding hands, linking arms, or just entering into someone's personal space. So how do you avoid false accusations? First of all, it's important that you follow all of the policies and procedures that TDL sets out for personal contact with students. Always have 3 people in any room where you work with a student. Show no favoritism, no secrets with students, no social media contact, and no private contact. Now that you understand your role as an adult to student, it's important to understand and recognize student-to-student harassment. It is, in fact, the most common type of harassment that happens in schools. Prevention is the key. Again, maintain the rule of 3, monitor students during training, structure training in such a way that students have access to the teachers can, and coaches and mentors can see everyone, keep everybody within sight, and set a standard that says you don't tolerate affection or any kind of private conversations during sessions. Finally, we'll talk about adult-to-adult sexual harassment. Harassment can be either hostile work environment, which means that a person that's either working or volunteering is being exposed to inappropriate jokes or pictures or uncomfortable conversations that make them feel uncomfortable in their environment, or quid pro quo, which basically means this for that, where someone feels that someone who has power over them is expecting some kind of sexual favor for some other favor. So in this case, if any adult or coach finds that they are feeling that they are being exposed to either a hostile work environment or a quid pro quo sexual harassment, they should report it immediately to the TDL chairman or a vice president or one of the board members, and we will take immediate action. In any event, if you as a volunteer experience sexual harassment or see red flag behaviors in others, it is important that you immediately report it. In most cases, if you see something, you need to interrupt it and then report. Immediately report this to a TDL board member. Document what happened quickly. We will have provide you with a student contact report or a contact report if it's adult to adult for TDL. If you see no change from the actions that you witnessed, you need to go up the chain of command. Now that we've covered sexual harassment, it's important that we talk about another kind of red flag that we need to be aware of when we're adult volunteers or coaches in an environment with minors. If any student tells you of any incidents of physical abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, cruelty, or corporal punishment, you have an obligation to report that to the authorities. It's not your job to investigate, just to report. The first thing you need to do is stay calm, listen to the child, comfort them, don't criticize either them or the abuser, and then immediately report the incident. If you are working and volunteering in the Durham County Public School System, you will call the Durham County Child Protective Service at the number listed. If you are working in a Wake County school, you will call the Wake County Child Protective Service report line. These phone numbers will be prominent on our website and available to you at all times. Once you have called and reported it to Child Protective Services, immediately report it to the TDL chairman or vice president. If you're unable to reach either one of those individuals, you should immediately contact another board member. If you need to report an incident or have questions about something you've seen or heard, we have the phone numbers available to you here. They will also be available on the website if you need them later on. The current chairman is Victoria Brevard. Vice president is Sean Nix. Then we have several other board members, RJ Pelciata, Shannon Nix, Rahab Camus, and Daryl Bradshaw. You will receive information as well from your individual school. There will be someone at each school that you work at that will have access to resources in case of an emergency. If you're in a Durham Public School, there will be a Durham Public School teacher available to you that you can also report any incidents to as well. You're almost finished, and I want to thank you so much for your role in bringing debate to Triangle students. If you have not set up a classmark.com test taker account, see the TDL administrator to obtain an access code. Next, you will go to the link provided, take the quiz, and it will be graded instantly. If you get a passing score, congratulations and welcome to the TDL team. If not, take the time to review the content of this video again and take the test until you pass. Thanks again.